My brothers and sisters, so many times in life we ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? Why did I lose that job? Why did this door close? Why am I being tested again and again? But the truth is, nothing in your life is random. Nothing is by chance. Every single moment, every single test, every single blessing, every single setback, it all carries a message. Allah is sending you signs every day. The question is, are you paying attention? My brothers and sisters, when life goes exactly the way we want, when the plans we have made unfold without obstacles, it is very easy to slip into a false sense of security. We start to think we are in control, that everything is happening because of our efforts, our intelligence, our hard work. We become comfortable, and sometimes we even forget the one who gave us the strength, the resources, the opportunities, and the time to achieve what we achieved. It is human nature. When things are easy, we tend to forget the source of all ease. But Allah, out of His mercy, does not allow us to remain in that state for too long. Suddenly something unexpected happens. It could be small, like missing a bus or a flight, or large, like losing a job, failing an exam, or facing rejection in a matter you had placed all your hopes in. At first glance, you may think, this is just bad luck. You may call it misfortune or coincidence. But in reality, nothing in a believer's life is random. Nothing is by chance. Every detail is carefully measured and planned by Allah. Every event, whether pleasant or painful, carries within it a message, a reminder, a lesson. Think about it carefully. How many times have you experienced a delay and later realized that delay saved you from something worse? How many times have you been redirected from one path only to discover later that the other path was far better for you? In the moment, it may feel frustrating. You may wonder, why me? Why now? Why did this happen when I was so prepared? But with time, if you reflect, you will realize that Allah was guiding you away from harm, protecting you from unseen dangers, or pushing you towards something that will ultimately benefit you more. Even the smallest details of our daily lives are not outside of His plan. That stranger you bumped into, the reminder you happened to hear, the words that touched your heart exactly when you needed them most. These are not accidents, these are signs. And when Allah wants good for someone, He places sign after sign in their life. A gentle nudge here, a subtle reminder there. The problem is, most of us are too distracted to notice. We are scrolling, rushing, chasing, worrying, and we overlook what is happening right in front of us. Consider this. When you are driving, you rely on road signs to reach your destination. Without them, you may take the wrong turn, end up in the wrong city, or even crash. You would never say, "Oh, I don't care about signs." You would never ignore the arrows and warnings on the road. So why then, when Allah sends us signs in life, do we dismiss them? Why do we shrug them off as coincidences, as if they mean nothing? Those signs are far more important than any road sign, because they are directing you not just in this world, but toward your eternal destination. Sometimes Allah gives us signs through blessings. A door opens, an opportunity arises. A prayer is answered in ways you did not expect. That is Allah telling you, I am here for you. I am listening. I am providing. Come closer to me. At other times, the signs come through hardship, a setback, a loss, a disappointment. That too is a message. It may be Allah reminding you, do not be arrogant. Do not forget who is in control. Return to me before it is too late. The beauty is that every single sign, whether wrapped in joy or in pain, is actually an act of mercy. Allah does not need to send us reminders. He is independent of us. But He cares for us enough to keep guiding us again and again, even when we drift, even when we forget. Every closed door is not just a closed door. It is a message that there is something better ahead. Every delay is not just a delay. It is a protection. Every hardship is not just hardship. It is a chance to purify your heart and strengthen your faith. Reflect on your own life. Think back to the times when you felt lost, confused, or hurt. Was there not always a moment, a word, an event that came at just the right time to remind you of Allah? Was there not always something that pulled you back when you were about to go too far? That was not random. That was not luck. That was your Creator calling you, reminding you, guiding you. But here is the danger. When these signs come and we choose to ignore them, we harden our own hearts. The first time, it may be easy to feel it. The second time, if we dismiss it, it becomes a little harder. Over time, we may reach a point where nothing touches us anymore, no matter how clear the signs are. This is why it is so important to pause, to pay attention, to ask ourselves, what is Allah teaching me right now? Do not underestimate the small signs. Sometimes a passing reminder can change your entire life if you take it seriously. Sometimes one unexpected event can alter your whole perspective if you reflect on it deeply. The problem is not that Allah isn't sending signs. The problem is that many of us have stopped looking. We have stopped listening. We have stopped reflecting. Every test, every blessing, every meeting, every moment, it is all part of a plan greater than what you see. Allah is not silent in your life. He is speaking to you through the events you go through the people you meet, through the experiences you face. The question is, are you paying attention? My brothers and sisters, the most dangerous thing a person can do in life is not to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all fall short. We all slip. That is part of being human. The greatest danger, however, is when we repeatedly ignore the signs Allah places before us, when we refuse to wake up, when we deliberately turn away, when we silence the voice inside us that is telling us, you need to change, you need to return, you need to stop what you are doing. Think about it. When Allah sends you a reminder, it is out of His mercy. It is like someone warning you that a bridge ahead is broken. If you take the warning seriously, you stop, you change direction, you save yourself. But if you ignore it, you keep driving until you crash. That is what ignoring Allah's signs looks like. The signs are there to save you. But if you dismiss them, the harm will fall on you alone. The danger is not just in ignoring one sign. The real danger is that ignoring one leads to ignoring another and another until your heart becomes blind. At first, you might feel guilt. You might feel a little uneasy when you sin, when you miss a prayer, when you break a promise. That is a sign from Allah. Your heart is alive. It is warning you. But if you ignore that feeling enough times, the guilt fades. The uneasiness disappears. And then one day, you no longer feel anything at all. That is when the heart has been sealed. This is why the Prophet would often warn us about hearts becoming hard. A hard heart does not respond to reminders, no matter how clear they are. A hard heart sees a calamity and says, just bad luck. A hard heart hears a reminder and says, not for me. A hard heart watches people return to Allah and says, maybe one day, but not now. And slowly, that heart drifts further and further away until it is completely disconnected from its creator. Ask yourself, how many signs have already come your way? How many times has Allah protected you from something you wanted but didn't get? How many times did He remove you from people who were harming your faith, even if you didn't realize it at the time? How many times has He tested you with loss, with illness, with pain, not to break you, but to wake you up? If we keep ignoring these lessons, what do we expect? Allah does not need us, we need Him. He is not waiting for us because He lacks anything. He is Al-Ghani, the independent, free of all needs. But out of His mercy, He keeps giving us chance after chance. He keeps sending reminders, some soft, some strong, until eventually, if a person keeps turning away, Allah may leave them to their choices. And that, my brothers and sisters, is the scariest consequence of all, that a person is left to wander blindly, lost in the world, while thinking they are fine. When you ignore Allah's signs, you are not just ignoring an event, you are ignoring a personal message. A closed door is not just a closed door. It is Allah saying, this path is not for you. I have something better. A setback is not just a setback. It is Allah saying, you have become too attached to this world. Turn back to me. But if you ignore these whispers, the whispers become louder. Sometimes it takes a huge loss, a life-changing tragedy before we finally open our eyes. But why wait until then? Why wait for pain when you can learn through reflection? Why wait for loss when you can wake up through gratitude? Why force yourself into suffering just to pay attention when Allah has already given you countless smaller signs? The tragedy of ignoring signs is not only in this world. The true tragedy is on the day of judgment, when a person will stand before Allah and realize that sign after sign had been given to them, yet they chose to dismiss everyone. They will say, I didn't know, I didn't see, I didn't realize. But the truth is they did know, they did see, They did realize, they simply chose to ignore it. And here is something to reflect upon. Every time you ignore a sign, you're actually asking for a harsher one. You're saying, without realizing it, this was not enough. Give me something bigger to wake me up. And Allah, out of His mercy, will send you something bigger. But with every bigger sign, the pain becomes greater. The cost becomes heavier. Why not wake up at the first reminder? Why not change when the sign is gentle, rather than waiting for the sign that shakes your entire life? My brothers and sisters, the danger of ignoring is not that Allah loses you. The danger is that you lose yourself. You lose your peace, your direction, your connection. You live blind in a world full of guidance. You walk past reminders that could have saved you, only to regret it when it's too late. Do not underestimate this. If Allah is reminding you today in any way, that reminder is a gift. That is proof that He still wants you, that He still cares for you, that He is still calling you back. But if you ignore it, tomorrow is not promised. How many people said, I'll change later, only for later never to come? How many people thought they had time only to be taken before they could act? The greatest danger is not in falling. The greatest danger is in falling, being lifted, and choosing not to stand. The greatest danger is not in being reminded. The greatest danger is in being reminded again and again and choosing to look away. My brothers and sisters, let us speak honestly. Every single one of us at some point in our lives has received a wake-up call from Allah. It may not have been in the form we expected, but it was there. The truth is, Allah never leaves us without reminders. The problem is not that the wake-up calls are absent. The problem is that too many of us hear them, feel them, but then go back to sleep. Think carefully about your own life. Was there not a moment when something shook you? Maybe it was a near accident. Maybe it was an illness. Maybe it was standing at the grave of someone you loved. For a while you felt it deeply. You told yourself, I need to change. I need to fix my prayer. I need to stop this sin. I need to get serious about my faith. For a few days, you were different. Your heart was alive. You prayed with sincerity. You cried in your dua. You felt close to Allah. But then slowly the feeling faded and you went back to the same habits, the same distractions, the same excuses. That, my brothers and sisters, is the greatest danger of a wake-up call. To receive it, to feel it, and then to go back to sleep. Because when you do that, the next wake-up call will have to be louder. The next test will have to be harder. And if you keep ignoring them, you may reach a point where nothing moves you anymore. And when a person's heart reaches that stage, only Allah can rescue them. But why do we wait for tragedy to wake us up? Why do we wait for death to come close before we remember that we too will die? Why do we wait for loss to value what we have? Do we need to bury a loved one before we realize that our own burial is not far away? Do we need to face calamity before we remember that this life is temporary, fragile, and fleeting? Every single hardship in your life has a hidden message. That illness that made you feel weak, was it not a reminder that you are not invincible? That money you lost, was it not a reminder that wealth comes and goes, but Allah remains? That betrayal you faced, was it not a reminder that people will let you down, but Allah never will? That opportunity you missed, was it not a reminder that your plans are limited, but Allah's plan is perfect? These are wake-up calls. They are not punishments in disguise. They are mercies in disguise. They are Allah's way of shaking you gently, telling you, come back before it's too late. When you are asleep and someone shakes you awake, it may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is for your benefit. Without that shaking, you might miss your exam, your flight, your appointment. In the same way, without Allah's wake-up calls, you might miss your entire purpose in life. Reflect on this. How many people were given wake-up calls, but they ignored them, and then their time was up? Think of the people you know who passed away suddenly. How many of them thought they had years ahead of them? How many thought they would have time to change later? How many thought they would have another Ramadan, another chance, another tomorrow? But tomorrow never came. The only thing that came was the reality of the grave. And yet, here we are, still alive, still breathing, still being reminded. This right now is your wake-up call. This message itself is a sign for you. Do not think it is by accident that you are hearing these words. Do not think you just stumbled upon this by coincidence. Allah has chosen for you at this exact moment to be reminded The question is, what will you do with it? When you feel distant from Allah and something pulls your heart, respond immediately. When you hear a verse that makes you pause, don't just say that's nice and move on. When you feel a wave of guilt after a sin, don't silence it with excuses. That guilt is a gift. That pain is a gift. It means your heart is alive. It means Allah still wants you back. Wake-up calls are not only in tragedies, they are also in blessings. Sometimes Allah gives you a success not to make you arrogant, but to remind you to be grateful. Sometimes He places you among good people, not so you can take them for granted, but so you can learn from them. Sometimes He blesses you with wealth, not to indulge in luxury, but so you can give and purify yourself. Blessings are also wake-up calls, but if you misuse them, they can turn into trials. The saddest thing is when a person receives a wake-up call, but they say, one day I will change. How many one days have passed already? How many years have slipped by while you keep telling yourself, soon I will pray regularly, soon I will leave this sin, soon I will fix my life. But that soon never arrives, and when death comes, it does not knock on your door politely and wait for your permission. It comes suddenly, it comes without warning, and when it does, all those wake-up calls you ignored will stand as witnesses against you. So my brothers and sisters, the question is not whether Allah has given you a wake-up call. The question is, have you answered it? Have you responded to it? Or have you silenced it with excuses, with distractions, with the false promise of later? Do not wait until you lose everything before you turn back. Do not wait until the earth covers you before you realize what life was truly about. The real wake-up call is right now. This moment, this reminder, this word you are hearing, it is Allah speaking to you through His signs. It is Allah telling you, come back to me. Don't waste your chance. Don't let the world fool you. Every wake-up call is a chance to change direction. Every wake-up call is a chance to fix what is broken. Every wake-up call is a chance to rewrite your story before the final chapter is sealed. The doors of mercy are wide open, but they will not remain open forever. Respond before they close. Now that we have spoken about the signs Allah sends and the dangers of ignoring them, the most important question remains. What do we do when we recognize those signs? How should we respond so that we do not waste them, so that they truly transform our lives? Because recognizing the signs is only the beginning. The real test is in how we act after recognizing them. The first step, my brothers and sisters, is to pause. Do not rush through life so fast that you treat every event as random. Train yourself to stop and reflect. When something happens, whether it is a blessing or a setback, ask yourself, what is Allah teaching me here? What is the lesson He wants me to learn? What is He trying to turn me away from or guide me towards? Too many of us move so quickly from one moment to the next that we never reflect, we never ask, and we never learn. When you pause, you give space for reflection. For example, if you lose something you loved, instead of only complaining, take a moment to think, was I becoming too attached to it? Was I relying on it more than on Allah? If you are blessed with something new, don't just celebrate blindly. Pause and ask, why did Allah give me this? How can I use it to serve Him? How can I use it to become a better person? That simple act of pausing and reflecting is the beginning of wisdom. The second step is to turn to Allah immediately. Too often when we face difficulties, our first instinct is to turn to people. We complain, we seek comfort in them. We look for solutions only in the world around us. Yes, people can help, but they are limited. The true solution lies with Allah alone. When a door closes, raise your hands and say, "Oh Allah, guide me to what is better." When you feel lost, fall into sujood and cry to Him. When you feel blessed, don't delay your gratitude. Thank Him immediately. The difference between those who grow from the signs and those who ignore them is that one group turns first to Allah while the other turns last to Allah. My brothers and sisters, responding to Allah's signs also requires action. Reflection alone is not enough. Tears alone are not enough. Promises alone are not enough. You must act. If Allah is reminding you about your prayer, then fix your prayer now. If He is reminding you about your sins, then leave them now. If He is reminding you about your family ties, then pick up the phone, apologize, forgive, reconcile. If He is reminding you about charity, then give before it is too late. Every sign is an invitation to act, not just to think. Think about it. If you see a sign on the road that says, danger ahead, take a different route, what would you do? Would you sit there reflecting, yes, that's an interesting sign, and then keep driving straight into danger? Of course not. You would act immediately, change your course, and save yourself. The signs Allah sends are far more urgent than any road sign, because they are guiding you toward your eternal safety. Responding to Allah's signs also means responding with humility. Do not become arrogant and think, this doesn't apply to me, this is for someone else. Many people hear reminders, but they filter them through pride. They say, I know better, I'll change later, this is not my problem. That arrogance is what blinds them. A sincere person, when they see a sign, says, this is for me, this is my message, I need to do something now. Even if no one else around them listens, they listen. That humility is the key to transformation. Another part of responding is gratitude. When Allah sends you a sign through blessing, do not misuse that blessing. If He gives you wealth, do not spend